Welcome, Simple Trading Life community. I hope everybody's doing great today on this Monday of the new week after our holiday weekend. And hopefully everybody's enjoying themselves. Let me get you guys brought up here. Way I can see your comments. There we go. So there's a couple of you in here already. And you'll see right there where I just typed, that's where you can type comments or questions, whatever you need. We'll try to keep it fairly brief today. We're watching ES here, as we always do. 30-minute chart. This is the E-mini S&P. And what we've had, I'll go back and we'll take a look like we normally do. Okay, here's where we opened up the new week. We gapped up, and then we had this strong move to the upside, all the way up here until midnight. So nothing but green. Green, 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 green. We had this little bit of structure right here, which has obviously acted as support this morning, which we will go back and take a look at here in a minute. Okay, you can see that down here on our RSI momentum indicator, momentum was strong to the upside, right? Strong to the upside. So this all made sense. Okay, I didn't do any trading on that last night. Just had a bunch of stuff going on. It was a good family weekend. Then we went into this range for a long time, clear over until like right over here. So from 9:30, from midnight to 9:30 a.m. this morning, we were in this nice tight range right through here, not doing anything. However, the momentum was to the downside, okay, and it's still been going down, right? So that's probably why we have not seen any real strong movement to the upside. I really thought right here we were going to have the opportunity for a 3-candle play to the upside, but as you can see, momentum turned back down, and then we sort of have been ranging right through here since noon. Okay, we could actually take, let me do it just to show you. Okay, we've been nice tight range ever since noon, and right now it looks like price is trying to fall. We'll see if it does or not, because we're actually watching this in real time. But if we look at the momentum, just come down here. Okay, from, what candle is this? From about 1:30 in the morning until even right now, I mean, momentum is just trending down. Okay, so we're just losing momentum. And again, we use this just to gauge price momentum. That tells us that there's the possibility, right, that price could start to drop. But at any time, right, we started to see this spike right here. Okay, that was this candle. Then we flattened out, even though we had this big bounce. Look, we just went flat, right? And then we had this candle here, and like I said, I was assuming, and you know what happens when you assume, I was assuming we were probably going to see a 3-candle pattern play here, and it just never materialized, right? The momentum down here, momentum started to go back down, we dropped, then we went into this range, and now we're dropping again. Okay, we'll see if we can get under these wicks right here. This red line is the top of an expanding range. So we got outside of it, but as you can see, we've just been bouncing along the top of it. Are we going to drop back into the range, or are we eventually going to reverse and go higher? Now, I put some numbers in the room. If we go higher, we're probably looking at 3188 to 3200. Okay, right in that range is where we could see if we went higher. Obviously, if we went lower, we can see it pretty easily on the screen here. We have to get through this level of structure. Okay, I could extend this across. Let's do that. Just bring this right across. Okay, so if we would get through this, highly likely that we just drop right on down to our support level here at 31.40.50, maybe even to the bottom of this candle. If we really saw some momentum, okay, we could maybe even get down, clear down here to where this gap is, and the bottom of this candle is 31.21.25. Okay, so that's what the potential is to the downside. And then to the upside, 31.88 to about 3,200. So we're going to see if we get any kind of move one direction or the other here. Now, see, we got several people joined us, so welcome. Guys, make sure you give a thumbs up to the channel here and subscribe if you haven't already. One thing I want to show everybody, I'm going to be quick today, but one of the things I want to show everybody was this this trade that I took on, this is the Euro futures. The Euro futures. And I took this on the micro because I'm just playing around with it a little bit. Let's get back over here. Yeah, what I have to do is close this in so you guys can see this a little bit better. Okay, all of this right here is just sort of a drop, base, rally, and you can see it much clearer on the 4 hour. So give me 1 second, I'll bring up the 4 hour. Okay, so here's the 4 hour. Get back over here. Okay, so we dropped, then we based, then we rallied, and then we've dropped. Okay, you see all this action here. And let me find it. That's the 5, the 9. What did we do here? Somehow I got away from what I was looking for. All right, yeah, here we go. All right, so this drop, then we go into this range right through here, then we rallied right up here. Now I exited actually right here is where I exited, and I caught 77 pips on the way up. So it was a good trade. I haven't traded currency futures very much. I usually trade forex currency pairs. The futures, it's just like if you're trading ES instead of SPY or SPX. It's just the futures, right? So this is the futures of the euro. And they don't have as many. So there's like the Australian dollar futures, the British pound, the Canadian dollar, the euro, the Japanese yen, and the Swiss franc. I believe that's all the only ones there are in the futures. And on a micro, and that's all I played here, you can look right up here. See this E micro? And right there's the symbol. It's /M6EU20. You get paid $1.25 per pip. So for 77 pips, I'm going off memory, I think it was 96.25 on this move, which I caught from here up to here. I exited it slightly before this area right here, and as you can see, here's what happened. Spiked up and then pushed back down, right? So it was definitely the right place to get out. Let's see if I come back over here. Yeah. Okay, so I exited up near the top of this before we got here, and you can see here we had this strong move to the upside, and then we had a strong move to the downside, so I kind of figured right in through here would be where we would catch the most resistance. So I'm just playing around with the currency futures a little bit. That's why I use the micro and not a full contract. A full contract, you'd get $12.50 per pip, $12.50 per pip. Also cost a lot more, right? So, and you could lose $12.50 per pip. So what I got right there on 77 pips, if that was a full contract, that would have been a $960 gain. But I played the micro, so it's only $1.25 per pip. I got $96.25. If you're trading forex, right, you're going to trade the pairs, and you're going to have access to a lot more. I'm just going off memory. I want to say that total, there's probably like 95 different pairs approximately, but you don't trade those all, right? You have the majors, you have the minors, you have the exotics. Many of the exotics you don't want any part of, right? It's going to be currencies you've never heard of. They can be extremely volatile, and they can be illiquid, meaning hard to get in and out. If you're trading the majors or the minors, you're always going to be good. There's going to be plenty of liquidity. It's way more liquid than even the stock market is. So I always recommend to newer, struggling, or improving traders, if you don't want to have to mess around with the PDT rule, get a futures account or set up a forex account or both. Right? Because there's no PDT rule. You can trade real small sizes. A micro futures currency contract during regular trading hours, which for them, they consider that 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., it's only $55. That's it. 55 bucks, and you can make $1.25 per pip. Now, if you're playing a full contract, it's going to be several $1,000s. Well, actually, I take that back. Depending on who you're with, there are futures only brokers. You can get a day trading rate. So when you're between those hours, it'll be a reduced rate. So it might only be several $100s instead of several thousand during the day only, not at night. Not at night. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, let's go back over and see where we're at on the E-minis. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to show you something else here in a minute, a little larger, bigger picture view. All right, so as you can see, we've poked down, and right now we're still kind of hanging out in this little range right here. Now, somebody had asked me earlier today in the room, they said, where did that trend line come from? I should have left it on the 1 hour chart. They're like, where does this trend line come from? Well, it comes from right here. Let me move it over. You're going to be able to see a couple of different things here. Okay, the first thing is you can see the expanding range. Okay, here to here. Believe it or not, this is actually going up. It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's completely flat, but it's just barely going up. Okay, and this is your expanding range to the downside. This last bounce down here, you can see this is the trend line. All right, so if I squeeze it in a little bit more, okay, that's where the trend line comes from. Okay, other than this dip right here, and then we got right back above it, now we're getting below it again. Okay, so does that mean we're going to drop? I mean, who knows, right? Right now we're trending down. Okay, so we got back above it, but so far we're not holding it. We really need to get back above it and then bounce even higher, okay, for this to continue to remain valid. It's valid for now. That's why I haven't taken it off, right? Because we got back above it and now we're just below it. We may get back above it again. Now, if we start to drop and we like take out this low, I'd probably just remove that line at that point. But this is where it came from, okay? This last bounce off the bottom of the expanding range. And you can see how many times it's been respected all the way up through here. Here, 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 right here, right here. Okay, then there's where we finally broke through, but then we came right back up above it. All right, so that's where it came from. Just wanted to show everybody that. Let's come back over, back to the 30-minute. Okay, now it's starting to drop again. Getting a little bit stronger. Let me squeeze in. Okay, we got to take these wicks out right here. Then we have to be able to get below this. Right? This has been the main challenge all day. Okay, you see this. Once this was created, right through here, this level of structure, we have not been able to get through it. Every time we've got to it, it's bounced. Okay, here we didn't even get all the way to it and we bounced. Okay, here we got to it, we bounced. I take that back. We went up to here, then we came over, then we tried it, then big bounce away. Okay, now we're trying to come back down again. We've got to get below these wicks, and then we would probably drop down into it again. All right, so we're watching this real time. I'm watching this with you. See, we got a couple more people joining. All right, so let's see here. The bottom of this was 31.59.50. Okay, that's right where we're at right now. 31.59.50 is the bottom of this lower wick. We'd have to get below it and hold. Then that would drop us down into this level of structure. It's kind of getting hung up right there right now. We'll see, that's its first obstacle. Those of you who are either new to our room or you're new period, like you're not even in our room. Obstacles are things like wicks, moving averages. Okay, this is the 20, the blue, the 20 simple moving average. The green is the 200 levels of structure. Okay, ranges, those are what we call obstacles. So when price is moving into an obstacle, it's got to get through it. So these wicks right here, we've got to get through. 31.59.50. Still hasn't been able to get through it yet. It has tried. It's trying again. Okay, sometimes it can get a few ticks below it. And we're at 31.59 now. Sometimes it can get a few ticks below an obstacle and then it'll bounce back up. There we go, 31.58.75. Now we might see our drop. Okay. Okay, you see how it just all of a sudden it dropped. Okay. It dropped by over $1 once it cleared that. Okay, there we go. There's the touch of the top of the range. The red line is the top of the expanding range, which is also confluent with this level of structure. So we're there. You see how quickly that happened? Once we cleared these wicks, I mean, literally just a few seconds and we dropped right down to it. Touched right there. You see we're getting a little bit of a bounce right now. So we're going to watch this in real time together. Okay, now this applies to anything you trade. What we're watching price action right now. Okay, so if you're trading Apple, or if you're trading Euro JPY, or you're trading futures, any futures, anything you trade, price action is the same. The same laws apply. There's only certain things price can do, right? It can go up, down, or sideways. A candle can either be an inside candle. Let me try to find one. Okay, inside candle right here, meaning it did not take out the high or low of the candle before it. You can have an outside candle right here. Okay, takes out the high and the low on the same candle, or a candle can go up or down, right? So it can take out one side, okay, like right here. This takes out just the top. Okay, so that's a move to the upside. This one here took out just the bottom. That's a move to the downside. It's the only thing price can do. You can't do anything else. All right, so those are just the absolute basics of price action. Then you start adding in things like obstacles. Okay, what can slow price down? What can cause price to turn? Right? Wicks, larger wicks. The bigger the wick, the harder it is to get through. Levels of structure, okay, like we just talked about. See how price moved up, based, went higher, okay, creates this level of structure here, and you can see how hard of a time price has had trying to get through there. Okay, supply and demand, moving averages, and then down here we're using the RSI as a momentum indicator, not for overbought and oversold. We don't use it for that. And as you can see, if I extend this line, let me just do that. Okay, if I extend that, as you can see, since last night at around 1:30 in the morning, okay, we've just steadily been trending down in terms of momentum. Now, the only reason that's important, that's another factor that we put into play, is that means we wouldn't look as much for upside plays until we would see price break above that. It's never broken above that since like 1:30 in the morning. All right, and basically, other than some chop through here, we've still just been in a range. All we did was kind of expand the range just slightly. Just slightly. This candle right here, it expanded it to the top and the bottom. You see that? You could like draw a line right here, and then you could draw another one, you know, kind of like right like that, and there would be an expanding range right there on a smaller scale. This red line is the top of that bigger expanding range that I showed you earlier. Okay, still, you see how it's right there, and it's having a hard time just waffling back and forth, back and forth. What does that tell us? That tells us that there is some buying pressure here right now. Now, is the buying pressure going to be as strong as it was over here and over here? We don't know yet. And even over here, right? That was a lot of buying pressure. That's what created that big spike up. We got to see, okay, can the sellers now dominate, be more aggressive than the buyers, and move down through this zone? Okay, they have to eat up the demand. If it's above, okay, buyers have to eat up the supply. We talk about this all the time. Okay, don't ever get confused that there's more buyers than sellers or more sellers than buyers. There's always an equal amount, right? Because there has to be one of each for every transaction. When price moves, it's that one side is more aggressive than the other side. Okay, that's all. One side is more aggressive than the other side. Because for every transaction, there is one buyer and there's one seller. It's just who's more aggressive at the time. Okay, right now, at this given second, until we got here, sellers are much more aggressive. Now we got to see, can they continue through this area where in the past, in this recent past, buyers have been more aggressive? Are buyers willing to step up and turn price back around again? Well, we're going to find out here fairly shortly as we keep watching it. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to set an alert about midway through this. I'm going to set it at about 31.53. Okay, so if price starts to move down, we're going to know. And then I'm going to set another one up here, and if price starts to reverse, we're going to know. And then that's going to allow us to look at a few other things. Hang on one second there. Let's go back up here. Look at our watch list from today. It was fairly small. Get back to it. There it is. Okay, it was pretty small today. So let's see. Let's change this to a daily. And the first one was BA. Okay, nothing. Okay, BA. Just sort of trapped in this contracting range. Do you see this? I can draw it in so everybody can see it. So it sort of looks something like this. All right, so it's sort of trapped in there right now. So on BA, we're looking for a breakout one way or the other. I'm going to leave that on there. Next one was Beyond. And I was watching some videos over the weekend, like different trading people who give their opinions and, you know, here's what I think, here's what I think. One of the ones I was watching, the one guy was super high on Beyond. He actually, I think his exact words were, by the end of July, he said, I believe Beyond will be over $200 by the end of July. We'll see. It might. Okay, right now, let's see what we got. Okay, it's been trending up, right? Now it's broke down below the 20, came back up to the 20. Remember, we're on the daily right now. Every candle's a day, and it's still, right now, still pushing to the downside. And if we look, if we come back here, let's do this, to current price, what has the overall trend been since way back over here? Since way over here. Even though price went up, it spiked up here, the overall momentum has been down, okay, which tells us it's possible that on a longer time frame, if you're a swing trader, okay, it may be rolling over and going to head lower. Now, lower is relative. It could maybe only come down to the 200. It could maybe only come down to, you know, this wick right here and then bounce higher. Okay, that would give us a W pattern if it did that. See that? Down, back up, back down, and then higher. That'd be a W pattern, or some people would call it a double bottom. Okay, very common candlestick pattern. All right, but you just want to watch these kind of things. But again, just like the market, you notice the first two names on the watch list, they haven't done anything. The market's ranging, and so are they. Okay, let's look at CGC. CGC. Okay, CGC, actually, what we had here, this is what we call a single candle power reversal. We had an inside candle, that's this one, okay, that's why it was on our chart. Price went down, took out this side, then reversed and came all the way back through the range. Here is where your entry would have been. Your entry would have been at 1650, and it's been as high as 1709, 59-cent move, and we talk about this all the time. You guys already know this if you're in my room or if you watch these videos. CGC is a high beta stock. Because its average true range is only about $1 a day, a 60-cent move is huge, and it pays you well, right? It would pay you very well if you caught this move back through the range up here. Again, this would have been our trigger when it took that out right there, okay, moving to the upside. All right, that was a 59-cent move. Even if you only caught, 50 cents of that, again, the average true range is only, if I remember right, it's actually $1.14, right? So any kind of move where you're catching 50, 60 cents, you're getting paid on CGC. It's one of the reasons I like it. Okay, so that was good. Okay, Intel, INTC. For the chart to load. Okay. Now it started with a gap down, tried to push lower. Again, when it came back up through, okay, you can enter right there, 58.72. It's been as high as 59.39. So let's see, that's about 65 cents approximately. Again, this is not a name other than, like you see this big candle over here. This is not a name that moves a ton. Okay, so you probably would have made some money on that move right there. A couple more. Lake. Let's look at Lake, which is Lakeland Industries. Excuse me. Okay, Lake, it barely triggered, and it's kind of worked its way back through, but there's nothing to do there. Nothing to do. You probably wouldn't even be stopped out yet. It would have triggered above here, but so far it's not really doing anything. It's not moving up or down. Again, the market is very stagnant today, right? Very stagnant market, so it's not surprising that nothing else on our watch list is moving incredibly well. All right, let's look at ULTA. Nothing, same thing here. See that just barely poking its head above right here. You see this just barely, and it's right there at resistance as well. That might have been something if you're watching it. Okay, for me, I probably don't take that trade unless this maybe even gets up above here. You also have to worry about this 20-day SMA headed down. Okay, but that would give you enough. If you cleared here, that's 209, say 210, and then up to here is 213. $3 move would be a great move. Okay, that'd be a great move. So you would have plenty there. Okay. Just got our trigger that ES is reversing. So let's go back and take a look at it. And let me close in just a little bit more. And there we go again. Okay, again, down into this level of structure. And what do? We're starting to bounce back up out of it. Will this be a continued bounce? We don't know. Hey there, Kelsey. Nice to see you. I see we got a couple more people just joined us. We're starting a new candle here. But again, down in and we bounce back out. This has been a very, very strong level so far. Okay, so far. Does not mean that we can't get through it. Yeah, it's a little bit more than just one candle. It's these three right here. Okay, that's what's giving you your level of structure. You see how it came up, then it kind of creates this shelf right here. Okay, top of the bodies to the bottom of the bodies. Then it shot out of there, and then it went back into a range. Okay, so that tells us that it was just a resting area, and then buyers got aggressive again. Okay, so they were obviously aggressive all the way up through here. Then they rested. Okay, then they rested. How do we know they rested? Because it ranged. Right? So there was almost equal strength between buyers and sellers, and then boom, we get another big spike out of there. Yes, exactly. Rally, base, rally. I mean, that's exactly what it was. Rally, base, rally. Short rally, because then we ranged for hours and hours and hours, like over 9 hours. Then we came down in again, right? Again. And now we're bouncing to the upside again, unless price reverses. I mean, right now we're starting to get closer. We're at 230. Obviously, action picks up after 2. And then in power hour, and the closer we get to the end of the day, things will get more and more volatile. Now, if we got any kind of news that would come out, if we got any kind of, like over here, see the advancers. The advancers, if I come back, okay, right here, okay, this was given away not by the momentum, but by the advancers. At that time of the day, I was watching the advancers. The advancers went up by about 300, and that's why this spiked. Okay, it was in the 2100s. It went up into the 2400s. This, at the beginning of the day, okay, this candle right here, when price went up first, the advancers were up around the 2600 mark, and then all of a sudden you could see this number just start to drop, and it dropped all the way like to the 2200 mark. So up here they were around 2600, and boom, what did it do? Came right on down. Then we come over here, it was around 21 something, then it spiked up to like 2400. That's why we got this. Okay, so you can just kind of watch, and if this number starts to climb, you're probably going to see price climb. If this number starts to fall, you're probably going to see price fall. Not every single time, but almost every single time. Okay, so that's why I always say you can't just rely on one thing. Now what this has told us though right here is so far, that's why we haven't been able to have any sustained move to the upside, right? Because all the momentum is down. Okay, it's almost like it's fighting against itself. Like it wants to go up, but the momentum's down. So what does that cause? It causes you to just stall out and chop. Right? So you just got to pay attention to that. You don't want to get stuck on the wrong side of, trying to be long or trying to be short when there's no clear direction. Now, can you make some smaller trades in here? Absolutely, right? Somebody could have tried to play this, play this bounce and have a stop maybe underneath this wick. That would have been nice. Okay, this candle, basically about a $12.50 candle right there, and it actually even went a little bit higher. You make good money on that, right? But then instead of giving us our continuation even higher, boom, it just turned around and reversed. Then it goes into this chop mode just like it was over here. Chop, 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 chop. Chop, 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 chop. Okay? Now for this to go higher, it's got to get, here's the obstacles. It's got to get above opening price, above the 20, and above this level right through here. Okay, then the next obstacle would be this trend line right up here. But that'd be a pretty good move. If it got up there, that'd be a pretty good move. Then it has to clear this wick, which it's not been able to do so far. And if it got above there, that's when it could bust up to like 3188 to 3200, up into there. All right, and anything's possible. I posted in the room. Again, I don't know the folks who are watching. I don't know how many are in our room. SimpleTradingLife.com. It's absolutely free if you'd like to come join us. But I posted in the room earlier, there was a lot of Twitter pros this morning calling the moonshot. They were saying we were going big today. We're going big to the upside today. Coming off of a holiday weekend. Obviously last week we trended up all week. And so they were thinking, hey, we kind of, slow into the weekend, right? On Friday, the regular market was closed, but futures were open until 1 o'clock, and obviously forex and stuff like that. But then, start of a new week after a holiday, sometimes you will get some momentum, and there was a lot of people, calling that we were going to have a big spike to the upside today. Hasn't happened, right? Not so far. And what did I warn this morning? Remember on this candle, I said be careful about being long, especially early, because this was a perfect place for them to trap people. And look what it did. Okay, look what they did right here. They spiked it way up here and then flushed it way down here. And that would trap all the people who were overeager, overzealous, trying to go long. And then they bail out, right? They'll bail out when this happens. And then you get down here, and then those same kind of people who were overzealous going long will get overzealous going short. They'll try to get in way down here, and then what do? They turn it right back around. Then they turn it right back around. And then they chop. Okay, you see that? That's how they manipulate you. When you don't understand what's likely to happen, you can get caught up in the manipulation of what we call big money. Banks, institutions, big hedge funds, big prop desks, people that have enough weight to actually move the market. Okay, we don't ever have enough weight to move the market. I've seen it said before, what is the actual number? What number would an individual trader have to be able to move the market on their own? I don't know that exact number, right? I've heard people say that it would be tens of millions of dollars, and not just tens of millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars going one way, right? Not just that your account is tens of millions of dollars, like tens of million in play going one direction or the other. Now, whether that's true or not, I have no idea. Okay, as you can see, we got right up to opening price level. Okay, now it's waffling right there. Remember, I said that was obstacle number 1. Obstacle number 2 is the 20. Obstacle number 3 is getting above this entire range right here, and that's where the 20 is. If you get above the 20, you're basically getting here. And then obstacle number 3 would be this trend line. This trend line's still valid until it isn't. Until we come down and start, breaking down in here and taking out something like this, that's when I would remove that trend line. Okay, I covered that there earlier. But you can see this? Right up to it, right? Okay, I've had this, I put this on, all this is opening price level. That's why we put it on every day. because it's important. And when you watch price action in real time, you'll see how these levels, these ranges, these trend lines, opening price, you'll see how they're respected. But you can only see it when you're watching in real time, right? Because if this ends up going on through here, and I'm just making this up, and closes up here, somebody will say, oh, it just blasted right through there. Well, no, it didn't. We're watching it. Look, it went right to it, and now we've got the waffling in the price. It's actually trying to push it back lower. Okay? And I know earlier today, this trend line was acting like that. Price would get right up to it and kind of back off, get up to it and kind of back off. And on the way back down, same thing. It would get down to it and then it would bounce. Get down to it and then it would bounce. Okay, look here. Look at this. This was a break, retest, came right down to it, and then it tried to go, but it couldn't. It never was able to take this out and hold it. That's one of our patterns, right? A break, retest, and go. So when you break a key level, it can be an area of support or resistance. It can be a trend line. Okay, what frequently happens is you'll break it, you'll come back to retest it, and then you'll go higher. That's why I said I was looking to see if we were going to get a 3-candle pattern play. This was the first 2 candles that set up nicely. If we could have took this out right here and started to move higher, we probably would have got a candle similar in magnitude as this, but we couldn't. And we had this wick right here. This was the obstacle, right? That's the selling pressure that came back in and it drove price lower. All right, so here's where we're at. And I'll wrap it up early. We've been on here 40 minutes. I didn't even plan on being on here this long. But what you're going to watch for is 2 different things. Can price break through these obstacles and head higher? Or will it reverse and can it get down through this gray area, which is a level of structure, and go lower? And if it does, it's likely to drop down into here, okay, 3142 to 3140. If it can break up and get up through this stuff, it's likely to go to 3188 to 3200. But it has to get through these to the top side. It has to get through this to the bottom side. All right, I hope everybody has an awesome day. We'll be back tomorrow, Lord willing, and we'll do another one tomorrow, probably at 2 o'clock, but if I do it at a different time, I'll make sure that everyone knows about it. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, turn on that notifications bell, and if you're not in our room, join us. It's absolutely free. SimpleTradingLife.com, click on the free chat room button, and you can come join us. Have a great day. You're welcome. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.